Greetings, gang. I am getting ready this upcoming week to go to my first Rinzai Zen Buddhist Retreat with a Roshi or a Zen master. In a very long time since I left my former community and we had been auditioning Roshis for the role in my former community. And since then, I took a little bit of a break from strict formal practice with a head honcho, big kahuna, big swinging dharma, a BSD as I call these Rinzai Zen masters. So yeah, it's bringing up some stuff for me. It's an interesting experience. Actually, I got my robes right here. I haven't worn these robes in a while. I never wear these robes. I got them in a dirty pile on my lap here. This is my collar. You wear the collar. I hope you can't see how dirty this thing is. I'm gonna have to wash this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's the collar. You put it around your neck. Then you've got your hakama, which is like the top part of your underrobe. Then you've got your karomo. I'm sorry, the hakama is the bottom part. Hakama is the karomo is the top part of your underrobe. Hakama is the bottom part of your underrobe. I don't know where that is. Oh, here it is. Here's the hakama, which is the bottom part of your underrobe. Then you've got your karomo, which is like your monk's robes. So I'm gonna actually put all these on and show you what it looks like. This is the karomo. This is the kesa, which you use when you're bowing. It's funny, I'm looking at this, my robes are just falling apart, you know, because I wore them for so many years. This is the, you wear this when you're chanting. And then this is a zagu, which is your bowing mat, which is also astonishingly and insanely dirty. These are really hard to wash, but other people do it. I haven't. Gosh, folks. And then finally I have my rakusu, which is my monk's bib, which is this guy right here, but it's actually not a monk's bib. The monk's bib is black. This is an osho or a priest bib. So there it is. I'll be wearing all these next week when I do this retreat. I forgot. This is my osho belt. We call it the thin belt. It's the priest's belt. I thought it would have a special knot because when you're a monk and you're ordained and you have a thick belt, there's a very specific knot. It is in fact the knot that the Japanese tie when they're giving gifts. And that's the knot you tie around yourself when you become a monk. Yeah, so I did so many of these retreats when I was a monk. And I want to talk a little bit today about the actual mechanics of a retreat. It's like a Swiss watch, and you're a tiny little part in that Swiss watch when you're a practitioner at a retreat. This is maybe going to be boring for some people because I am literally just going to run through the physical mechanics of a day of practice at a retreat. Now, before I begin to tell you what a day in one of these retreats is like, I just want to share the, insight or energy I'm trying to bring into this retreat. If there is one thing I have realized, it is that you cannot win at a Zen retreat. You will not do it right. You can't win at a Zen retreat. So what I am taking into this retreat is a attitude of surrender. Leave, along with my lay clothes, when I put on my robes, which I'm looking at on the bed right now, leave your pride behind and surrender completely to the practice. You, meaning me, will not do it right. You will not be able to cross the finish line like Jesse Owens and win the Zen race. It's work. It's sweat, equity, and elbow grease. So I have the humblest of expectations going into this retreat. The humblest and simplest of expectations. I hope that when I sit on the cushion, I can surrender into the practice. Truly, the attitude to bring is one of dying into the cushion. No hope. And I don't mean that in a negative, pessimistic way. It's like true humility. And I don't mean humility in a self-aggrandizing way. But I know the truth. I know how hard a retreat is. Even just a weekend retreat, the retreat expands to become as difficult for you as if you were doing a 7-day retreat. I mean, every day is difficult and hard, and I'm not going to win. And so my goal is to surrender into the sitting, right? And once you surrender, so surrender is my number one goal. When the mind starts coming up, and I notice it. I notice the anger. I notice the exhaustion. I notice the sadness. I notice all the things that come up when I sit for an extended period of time. And energies, subconscious ideas, emotions, things that I've been repressing, things that are coming from the environment, coming up through me. Like when this stuff starts coming up, the goal is not going to be, can I finally have satori? Can I become an enlightened being? Is this the retreat where I pass the super duper ultimate koan, etc.? Keep it simple, stupid. Surrender back into the sitting. Surrender back into the sitting. Surrender back into the sitting. Okay, dog, I have put on my robes here. I don't ever, of course, wear these robes when I'm doing these YouTube talks because I'm not in any way, shape, or form representing my lineage, which I revere and respect. If I was, I would not wear these robes and speak the way I do when I give these videos off. I'm not even giving a Dharma talk when I give these videos. Dharma talk is when a priest or a Roshi or a monk sometimes, depending on how much permission you have to speak from your community and your teacher. A Dharma talk is when you're speaking to a community about practice and your experience around practice. It's not even what I'm doing in these videos. What I'm doing in these videos is simply a dude talking about Zen. So I never wear any of the accoutrements. And in fact, I don't even particularly feel comfortable in this right now, so I'm gonna take it off. Got my green tea. Okay, this was supposed to be a video, nuts and bolts, about exactly what happens at a Zen Buddhist retreat. Instead, it became a vlog about my anxieties and enthusiasms this upcoming retreat. So now I'm gonna go through, without thinking about it too much, a day in the life of a Zen Buddhist practitioner or monk who has come to a Dai-session retreat. You are laying in bed. You are deep, deep in the arms of sleep on a mattress that is stained with the blood and the dead skin of 1,000 Zen students. And it's a mattress this thick, 3 or 4 inches. And then your body is caving in because the springs are so old. And there's a bunk bed and there's some dude snoring so loud above you, it sounds like he's trying to start a chainsaw. Okay, so the door of the cabin will swing open, the lights will come on, and the shoji is ringing a bell. He or she is waking you up. You have 10 minutes to throw on all those robes I just showed you and be in your seat in the zendo. So from the second that light comes on to the moment when formal practice begins is just a mere 10 minutes. So there's no time to go, really, you can maybe pee, but that's about it. You can't brush your teeth or wash your hair or do much of anything. You are instantly in the zendo. You leave your shoes on the porch, the shoji porch. You come into the front of the zendo and you bow. Now, every time you are changing or entering a practice space, you bow. Anytime you are starting or ending a practice, you bow. So you bow to indicate that you're shifting gears, if you will. So you're entering the practice space. you put your hands in gasho, which is like a 40-degree folded hand position like this, and you bow. You're exhausted, you're tired, you don't know what's going on, but already your body is doing it. You don't need to think about it. You walk in a straight line. You do not walk in diagonal lines in the Zendo. You walk in a straight line forward to your tan or ro, and you turn at a sharp angle. Your hands are still in gasho. When you're entering the space, your hands are in gasho. When you're leaving the space, your hands are in sasho, which is your right hand at your sternum and your left hand over it. That's how you exit the space. You're always doing something with your hands. You're always doing something with your body. There's always an appropriate way to manifest in the practice space when you're doing the practice. Daddy getting hot. Daddy gonna take off his sweater. I don't know why I'm calling myself Daddy. Okay, folks. So you've entered the practice space. You come to your spot. So you will have a cushion, you will have a space, you will have a name plaque made out of wood. The shoji, who is the officer in charge of taking care of the students, will have set up a space for you. There's a piece of wood, and your name will be burned into or marked in permanent marker, your name, and that's where you sit. You have a space in the Zendo. You come to your cushion and you bow to the Zendo. In the Rinzai Zen tradition, we face the Zendo. In the Soto tradition, they face the wall, but we turn and we face the Zendo. Now, you will take your full seated position, meditation position on the cushion. I'm not going to go into what the seated meditation position is. But you take your full seated meditation position on the cushion. Now we have a situation where the shoji and the jikijitsu, the two officers in charge of the Zendo, the two officers in charge of manifesting different energies in the Zendo. So the jikijitsu is discipline, and the shoji is love or care. Okay, care, discipline. Care, discipline. Okay, these two officer roles are holding the space, if you will, for the practitioner. So the shoji is going to bring the jikijitsu some incense. Okay, now you can see how everything is being done for you here. Everything is being done in such a beautiful way. Like there is the superficial analysis of the situation so far is that it's very militaristic and very unclear, but actually there's very clear activities happening and it's very kind and generous. Again, your job is to surrender. It's all being done for you, right? So the Zendo officers are going to open up the space for practice. And they're doing that with some nice incense. And their shoji is being a caring person and is bringing that incense to the jikijitsu and is saying, not saying, but bowing. So you're not talking. You're not exercising your vocal cords as I am right now. It's all unspoken. It's this beautiful choreography. It's days and days of choreography. And human beings are, as my mentor used to tell me, hardwired for ritual. I know in this secular / almost nearly atheistic age, or you could even say this like tribally theistic age, we don't really like to think so much about discipline and within the realm of ritual. But when you do something with your body in a ritualistic way all week, instead of running your mouth like I'm doing right now, it puts your head in a completely different space. Controversial statement of the day, as my mentor told it to me. Human beings are hardwired for ritual. Okay, so the shoji brings the incense to the jikijitsu. The jikijitsu now will go to the front of the Zen meditation hall, and there's a Buddha statue in a butsudan, which is a little home / altar. Okay, it's a very simple space, and there's a bowl there, and he will walk in a very prescribed way around the bowing carpet, place the incense into the incense bowl, bow, come back around the front of the bowing carpet. And now he or she will do 3 great bows. And you can feel it when you're in the Zendo. You can feel this officer manifesting the role of paying respect before one could say, the idea of something bigger than yourself. So you come to a Zen retreat, you got an atheist across from you, you got a ex-Catholic over there, you've got a practicing Jewish person to your right, you've got maybe a Sufi whirling dervish to your left, right? You've got a lot of different people with a lot of different ideas about the numinous or the spiritual or the transcendent or the enlightened. Well, that Buddha statue holds all these ideas. We had an old 100-year-old hand-carved Chinese Buddha statue that me and a fellow monk bought and put in our Butsudan. And that old wooden statue held everybody's idea of something that's bigger than themselves. And when that Jikijitsu would be doing his great bows or her great bows, they're putting their head on the carpet, the bowing carpet, and they're bowing before something bigger than themselves. Whatever that is that you want to project upon it. Okay? So thank you, Jikijitsu. Like, you're doing that for us. So I don't have to, as I'm sitting on my cushion, I don't have to do that myself, right? So we're all, and my only job is to hold my body. And then when I'm holding my posture, and I'm not thinking, I can experience the Jikijitsu bowing for me, and his or her activity becomes my activity, right? And the boundaries between me and the people around me are beginning to blur in a good way, in a healthy way, in a supportive way. I'm not just myself anymore. I'm not the guy on the subway with who didn't, put enough deodorant on. Although I'm never that guy. Hey, Austria, there's always one guy on the subway who doesn't put deodorant on. And you ruin it for the rest of us. Deodorant, use it. All day, every day. Old Spice, it's got no aluminum in it, and it kills scent for like a day and a half. Okay, it's summer, it's hot. In any event, I'm not that guy. Or the guy complaining about it on the subway, right? Not a guy with a shaved head, born in Wisconsin, X number of years old. I'm blurring my boundaries with the people around me. And that's a really beautiful thing, and you cannot do that, in my experience, unless you shut the fuck up and follow a schedule, okay? So, how about that? Dudes, we've just done 15 minutes of a schedule in a Zen Buddhist monastery retreat, like a sesshin or a zazenkai. And I've taken over 15 minutes to tell you about it, right? These rituals are incredibly rich, and the whole day is going to be like this. And I'm just going to run through the day quickly now because I can't waste your whole, I can't spend a day telling you what a day at a retreat is like, okay? It's like that Borg's short story where in order to they make the most detailed map ever, and it's as big as the world, it covers the world that it was detailing. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so after the Jikijitsu opens the Zendo for practice with incense and bows, we have tea. The Shoji will bring us tea, and we share some nutrition together. Okay, usually it was lemon water in the morning, warm lemon water. And you had to get the tea the perfect temperature, because if you make it too hot, it's a pain in the ass. There are 2 rounds to drink, and it's a pain in the ass. So there's 2 rounds of the tea. You drink, and there's a way of doing it. Drink my tea here. It's like you're holding the cup here, another hand here, your elbows are up, and you usually there are 2 rounds of tea. And you have a napkin, and you wipe it out. There's a certain way to wipe it out, and you put it behind you. There's a certain way that it's supposed to be behind you. So again, you are constantly being taken out of your head and into the practice, into the context, into the zendo, into the environment, out of your head, giving. Do you understand? Like, there are such simple activities. Wiping out a cup and putting it behind you. And every aspect of it is prescribed, if you will, by the rituals or the form. And the reason is not to be anal retentive. The reason is so that you don't have to think, so that you can do it completely without thinking about it. And you don't get distracted by other people doing something interesting because they're doing it in the same boring, formal way that you're doing it, right? Now you're going to sit. So there's a whole ritual around how we begin a sit, right? Jikijitsu will ring a bell 3 times, a hand bell. And then you will sit. Everybody's quiet now. It's morning. Eventually the shoji is going to get up just when the sun is just beginning to arise on the horizon, and the horizon begins to yellow just a touch. The shoji is up to greet the day with kaihan. One loud. Kaihan is a wooden hammer and then a wooden mallet that hangs outside the zendo. That's the kaihan. Is the the wooden mallet is what you use to hit the kaihan, which is a wooden board. And there's one loud, two soft, 7. Then you do a roll down. Do, 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 do. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a roll down. Do, 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 do. 3. 1, 2, 3. Roll down. Do, do, do. Then you do soft, soft, loud. There's a form for everything. The shoji comes back in, sits down. Now we sit. Eventually, we sit for 25 minutes. The sit ends, and we walk for 10 minutes usually. Walking meditation. I won't go into the form around walking meditation. Suffice to say, your hands are, as I said earlier, in sasho. Right hand here, left hand over that at your sternum. Your eyes are focused on the lower back of the person in front of you, and you are in step with them. You are walking in step with them. Please don't step on my heel. Just walk in step with me, right? And we walk in a circle. This is the time where you can use the bathroom if you need to. That ends, we go back into the zendo all very formally, and we'll sit again. Eventually, somewhere in there, we will probably meet with the Zen master to present an answer to your koan. Dudes, if I told you about that, we would be here for the next 3 hours. I don't have time for that, baby. I gotta drink my green tea. I gotta go outside and live my life and have some fun before I go do this retreat, okay? So, eventually, after the morning practice is over, you will go do a formal breakfast. Now again, you exit the zendo for formal breakfast in a certain way. You have a brief 5-minute period where you can wash your hands. Everything is done in silence, okay? So you have moments where you're released from the formal practice, but it is only to do a very personal thing, like use the bathroom or wash your hands, okay? So when you're washing your hands, there's not form around that. That's a personal activity. Nobody can wash your hands for you, and it wouldn't make sense practice-wise to have form around washing your hands or going to the bathroom, right? But so there's a brief time allotment for those personal activities. Then you're back in the zendo. Then you will be called down to the zendo by a whole group of officers on the opposite end of camp who are involved in a completely different activity than you. They are taking care of you. I wonder if this is filming. This is filming, for better or worse. They are taking care of you. It's called Joju. It's a different set of officers on camp. They're in charge of picking people up from the airport, cooking the meals, arranging the chanting hall for sutra chanting, as well as the teachers' formal lectures, etc. So they've got everything set up for you. You're just sliding in. You're like an astronaut. Like all the millions of people behind the computers are taking care of stuff for you, and you as the practitioner are just the astronaut. You just come in from your solo, from your flight on the Zen cushion, right? You go in, and baby, I can't even go into all of the particulars behind a formal meal. I mean, there are 3 rounds of food. There are servers. There's a specific way to offer your bowl to the server. There are specific hand movements to say how much food you want. There are rules around when you can use condiments, which are passed down the line. It's like an L bracket of seating. The jikijitsus are here to make sure that everybody over here is doing the practice. So jikijitsu can oversee all the people who are eating, and then they will correct them loudly in the dining hall if they are not doing the proper meal form. Meals are an interesting place to practice. You would think that they're a bit like washing your hands or going to the bathroom, in the sense that they're not a space where formal practice is appropriate. But in fact, it's a very interesting space to do your practice, because people are very particular about eating, and they get in their heads when we're eating, and we get into almost a primitive primal state when we're eating. And so it's very interesting to hold your body in a certain way, and to continue to practice, to continue to be completely present in your surroundings or in the dining hall, which is a practice space when you're eating. It can be very sad and very beautiful at the same time, very lonely, and the opposite of lonely, almost like taking the mother's breast. The food is going to be simple. It's just there. You're not going to get off on the taste. It's not about the taste. The Tenzo has very carefully prepared a meal that will not distract you by being too spicy, too sweet, too salty, too bitter, too umami, okay? It's going to be simple and basic. So you don't get distracted by the food, right? But you're being nourished. You're being nourished. And if you don't have certain hang-ups about food, you can appreciate the fact that this planet is keeping you alive in a really deep and interesting way when you do a formal meal. Formal meal ends, you'll march all the way back up to the zendo. You've got your bowl set, you've wrapped your bowl set up oryoki style, you've got chopsticks in there, you've got a bowl cloth for washing your bowls out. You do a whole bowl washing thing when you're back in the dining hall. You bring that bowl set back up with you into the zendo, you put it on the wooden shelf behind you, you sit down. Now you got to drink another round of tea. The shoji brings tea. Then we close things off with the Choji giving the Jiki Jitsu incense to end this round of practice. So we began early in the morning at 3:10 in the morning, or 3 o'clock in the morning. We began, remember, with that opening ceremony with the incense. Now we're going to close the formal practice that we have done together. We're going to honor it. We're going to close it off with a ceremony similar or exactly the same as the one that opened it. We're going to do the Jiki Jitsu is going to do those great bows on that carpet. Put the incense in the bowl. Do the great bows. Now you've got 20 minutes to go to the bathroom, brush your teeth. Then you're going to do a version of what I just said all over again. The only difference this time is there's going to be a teisho. So you're going to, the teacher is going to lecture to everybody. So the teacher will have a text somewhere in there, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock or something. The teacher is going to have a teacher has a text, a koan usually, or something from the Rinzai Roku, which is the book of Rinzai, which is a tiny, slim little collection of Lin-chi or Rinzai's sayings. People have recorded him saying things to his students, the founder of my lineage. And so our teacher will interact with the text, and we'll get to listen. He'll sit on his high seat. Tons of form around that. I won't get into it. Bows and incense and gongs and chanting. And the teacher finally sits down in his big chair, and he delivers a lecture. And this is a great time to catch up on your sleep, frankly. So you go like this. Oh God, the sleep. You're like a warm blanket of nothingness comes over you, and you just pass out as the teacher drones on and on about the Rinzai Roku or Hyakujo's Fox or Joshu's Mu or something. There's more form around leaving the Teisho, the formal Zen Master lecture. You're back up in the Zendo again, and all the form is replicating. So, it's always incense, it's always bows, it's always moving your body at sharp angles, not diagonally. So it's kind of rhythm and a kind of choreography and a kind of DNA. The DNA for the whole practice is the same. There's just a few different activities. Basically, there's sitting, walking, chanting, koan practice, listening to the teisho, eating. I think those are the only things we're doing all day long. That's formal practice. We do chanting in the morning, chanting in the evenings. I won't go into chanting, but again, there's all kinds of form around that. And you're holding your body and you're saying, Gan yin ai bon ang yon yin am ya ha mi na ni yong en go hung ai. coming from your diaphragm. You are not being musical, as you can tell, and you're repeating these Sino-Japanese chants. And they're the Heart Sutra, the Diamond Sutra, Daisagaki, etc. These are Buddhist sutras or chants. And this is your day. I don't think I'm missing anything. I'm sure I missed something, but... And by the end of this, you can see it. The reason I gave you this all like this is because you can see it's even just taking me out of my, whatever dumb thing I had going on. I don't mean to disrespect my life, my personal life, my small s self. It's a beautiful life. But I'm also part of something bigger. And so rarely do I get to participate in such a direct way in the truth that I'm part of a bigger picture, right? And that's what the Zen retreat is designed to do. Break down or dissolve the arbitrary boundary between self and other, or this and all of this, right? Very, very, very simple. So, like I said, the continual surrendering of ego. When it gets really, really difficult, you just surrender humbly and do the practice. And when you're flying high, you ground yourself on your cushion and bring yourself back to that practice with full attention, devotion, and focus. And that's it. And that's what I'll be doing this upcoming week. Probably when you're watching this, I'll be sitting on that cushion. So send me some good vibes, baby, because I need it. If you'd like to support this channel, you can go here to patreon.com/showsonjackcarpenter. Thank you. There's also an opportunity to support this channel. In the video description below, there's a PayPal link, or you can hit like, hit subscribe, hit notifications. Thank you. See you next time.